Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scotsy Business, and today we're here with Jeremy Kauffman, who is the CEO and founder of LBRY, otherwise known as LBRY, which is an awesome decentralized video hosting application. And can you just start off by telling us a little about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I could talk for a long time about myself, but to keep it short, I founded LBRY about 3 or 4 years ago. I have a background in physics and computer science. I also have an entrepreneurial background. I founded another software as a service company that grew to a pretty decent size, and I'm very passionate about sort of the freedom that sort of used to exist on the internet that feels a little bit like it's slipping away to me, and that's part of
Mhm.
why I founded LBRY. Where hey, depending on your audience, some of them may be watching this video on LBRY right now and some of them
Yep.
may be learning about it right now. But I think anyone who cares about blockchain and having an internet that we own and that we control is going to like what we're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. And how busy is your day with everything you've got going on right now?
Yeah, my day is pretty varied. I do everything from I'm still involved in some aspects of the technical side, although we have a pretty large technical team and a great technical team. So I'm far from the most competent technical person at my company anymore. But I know enough to cause trouble, and I do like to think I contribute from time to time. And for people who are interested in a deep technical look, we do have LBRY.tech, which has really thorough documentation of everything that we've built and how it works. But I also get involved, with our growth and our marketing team. I have to deal with investors. I do communications with the public. So my day can really be varied from day to day and week to week. Sometimes I go to a conference, but I'm involved in almost every aspect of the company, at least a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess bridging that into can you talk a little bit about LBRY and what it's all about for people who maybe don't really know a lot about it, and then just kind of maybe a little more advanced view for like people who have already kind of who are a little bit into blockchain already, but maybe not aware of the project.
Yeah, totally. So we'll take it at I don't know. We can call it what's sort of like the grandparents level, and we'll dial it up to the hardcore computer science technical expert, and hopefully someone can find something for them along the way.
Yeah.
So if the simplest way that is not an entirely correct way of describing what we do is we want to make services like YouTube possible, but without the Google. That is, we want the user experience that you have of a YouTube and or Netflix or these other things, but we want that to happen without needing to put to trust and sort of put all of your eggs in the basket of one company and one corporation. Because truthfully, aside from some of the like censorship, demonetization issues on YouTube, it's a pretty good user experience. Like Google tends to build decent technical products. You might have some qualms with
Mhm.
some of the things they do as a company, but like Gmail's a good product, right? Aside from some maybe like some of the like NSA aspects or whatever, I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even saying that's true. Anyway, so that's what we want to make possible. So the distinction here is if you look at something like say like SMTP is the protocol that powers our email, HTTP powers the web. When we do things via a protocol, end users, whether it be creators who are also users of a protocol or the consumers, they benefit a lot more. When we end up entrenching all of the usage in one company, they act nice when they start, but then they kind of turn the monetization dial and they squeeze people and they sort of stop acting in their customers' best interests. And I could spend the rest of the
Hmm.
show talking about examples of pretty much every major tech company doing this.
Yeah.
So partially what we've done here is we're kind of saying we've tied our own hands. We want to build a protocol that makes this possible, but that we aren't in control of, and that's true. Scott, you published to LBRY. I don't know. I didn't check actually. You participated in our YouTube creator program, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't have to answer on this episode as to whether you have or not. So I'll keep it as a generality. If you got your keys to your wallet from us, because we have to construct that wallet and then we hand it over to the creators. Once a creator has gotten that, who participates in our YouTube program, they're in control. We can't delete their content. We can't remove it. The only keys that can say to the blockchain, "Hey, this isn't supposed to be available anymore," is that wallet and the keys that are in that wallet. So we think this is a really brave, bold, exciting new world, and we do invite people to come and join us in it. Um, And I mean, so I can get more technical in terms of, what is a blockchain? How does LBRY use its blockchain? I don't know where you want to sort of what your audience would like to hear, but I can
No,
keep going. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid start, anyways. Um, I guess we'll probably get into a little bit more on library moving forward. But what gave you the original like idea for this, or what was the motivations behind it? I know you talked a little bit about obviously all the things happening with the big tech companies, but to hear it from you.
Yeah, totally. So um, the I lose track of the dates as to um, uh, when I first got turned on to Bitcoin. It was a couple of years after it existed. Price wise, I think it was like in the like low hundreds or something. So and I was a computer scientist. I was an entrepreneur. I was curious about, at first it just sparked my curiosity in terms of, what this thing makes these promises. How does it satisfy them? What can it do? As someone who is sort of, might not surprise you, who is into physics and computer science, I like to kind of drill down and think about the essence of things. And to me, the essence of blockchain is this ability to reach consensus, to reach agreement on what's going to be in a database. That's what it is. And to reach agreement on that without trusting one party to say what's in it. So then I started thinking about other applications of that. I certainly, even before blockchain, was a big believer in sort of freedom of speech, anti-censorship, people being able to make their own choices, that kind of thing. Internet freedoms. I can point to one specific thing, although I was already sort of thinking around these areas. And it's actually not that I'm here to get Twitter followers, but I believe it is my pinned tweet right now on my Twitter profile. It's this conversation between Julian Assange and Eric Schmidt, and they're talking about this sort of like Bitcoin as DNS system, which isn't exactly what LBRY is, but that definitely helped get my gears turning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And uh, from there, I mean, what are some of the next big things coming out for library or LBRY library? I know you just said that you're launching, that you really just came out with the .tv. So if you want to speak a little to that.
Yeah, well, we haven't. It's funny. We
Or I
haven't.
guess it's kind of in
Yeah.
the
Well,
works.
no, it's out, right? Because you can load it. We've actually never officially came out with it. So my style, we definitely have a sort of like hacker ethos at this company, as well as a startup ethos, and it's like, as soon as you can let people start touching something, you have that happen. So we had. When we knew we wanted to start working on the LBRY.tv project, we got the domain and we put up a simple landing page, or a week or two into it or whatever. And then as soon as we had something that we could load, so that way other people in the company could just test it, we put it up at beta.libray.tv. And people have started we started telling some community members, hey, do you want to try this out? But like, it totally isn't. It totally wasn't ready. It's now what's up there now is very close to ready. So if people go on to beta.libray.tv, you'll be seeing pretty much what's going to launch. The launches, we don't have a hard date, but it's like literally like any day now, and we'll do that kind of gradual rollout. So we'll first email. We've got a couple. Our email database at this point is I don't know. It's like 250, 300,000 people. There's like 10 or 15,000 who've said specifically they want to be part of very first tester and earn some extra rewards for doing that. If anyone in your audience wants to do that, they can go on to just LBRY.tv proper, not the beta one, and put their email in there, and they'll be the first wave of official testers as part of the release. But yeah,
Awesome.
this is around the corner, and that will be the full experience that's been on the desktop app already, which you can download from LBRY.com. So yeah, like LBRY works, you can use it. It's just the web version that's new. So LBRY.com is where to get the web app as well as the mobile app, or you can just go into the Android Play Store. We're not on iOS. That may come eventually. That will come eventually. I don't have a date for that one. In terms of other developments, I mean, gosh, that one's just so by far the biggest. We've been doing various community initiatives, so we do have a really cool community, and there's always new programs and grants and stuff coming out. So if people want to get involved in that, that's another thing they can check out. Best intro point for that is just to join our chat at chat.libray.com. So yeah, but never a dull day. Never a dull day around here.
Yeah, and it's funny because I kind of found the .tv like almost accidentally because
Yeah,
I had posted my library link, and then I realized that no one could just get to that if I posted that on Twitter. So
yeah.
I just dug around a little bit, and then I found that I could actually just post the .tv, and I was like, okay, awesome.
And by
And
the way,
it
yeah,
was funny because it just came out, and I managed to figure that out.
and we'll be supporting all that, so you don't need to worry. Like even when we cut over to library.tv, everything will get redirected. So if you
Oh,
want to
okay.
update those eventually, but you don't have to worry about those links going dead or anything like that. We're very conscientious of those things. I will briefly say, you know, um, I think that some of these other companies that are blockchain based have gone in this order of like making a website first and then like, oh, but it's actually on top of a blockchain. And if you just have a website, it's not really any different. If the only interface for your blockchain is through a website that's on a domain that's like your domain, that's how much is this better really than the world that we were coming from. So part of why the website is only just coming out is we did everything the opposite way. We got the full network, the full technology. Library has and while we're getting working, got millions of pieces of content on there and all of these other developments. And now that it's all working, now we're bringing it onto the web. But I think it's a mistake to build Coinbase, before you build Bitcoin. Otherwise, you've just made PayPal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And there's so many like I've been doing like building out like a comprehensive review that I update every like 3 to 4 months on like all the blockchain platforms that I can get my hands on and review them. And most of them are just, websites, or like they might have something coming out in the future, but there's projects that have been claiming that for like 2, 3 years now, where it's like, well, we're going to have something soon. We're going to just keep using the platform, keep, even though it's not really blockchain yet. And it's just kind of like a hope and a wish at that point. It's like 2, 3 years down the line, still no progress. Um, so so how does library fit in with other like similar projects like BitChute and well, it's a lot more complex than BitChute, but I mean, just like in sort of similar projects, like how do you feel like it fits in with all these other projects?
So maybe if you name specific ones, because you could make comparisons to like on a lot of different axes. Like, I don't know if you're talking about like companies that are more storage oriented or companies that are more like because there are other sort of social apps that are trying to do Twitter or Reddit, which we're not trying to be. So
Yeah, I guess more the like video hosting applications. So like the more like BitChute, BitTube,
yeah, so
DTube on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Steam I have mixed feelings on. I mean, I love the idea. I love the idea of a decentralized Reddit. When I tried to learn about Steam, there were like 5 different blockchains, and even as an intelligent person, I found it quite a little bit difficult to get my head around. So I don't have a firm opinion as to their technology, but I like the idea of it, and they
Mhm.
seem to be a good group of people in terms of what they're working on. With a lot, I mean, BitChute is just a website. I trust their proprietors. I know the people who run it. I think they're great people. It's a website. You have all the same limitations that a website has, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And I would encourage them, if any of them are listening, to finally open source their technology. I think that's a good idea. And by the way, all of ours is open source. So I think it's our design is a lot more robust. We
Mhm.
really, ours does pass the bus tests. It's all out there. It's all open source. It would certainly
Mhm.
be a big blow to the project if everyone that's officially working for it got in, again, crash in a bus, but like it would survive. It's all out there. It's all live. It's running on computers. Someone else can pick up the repos and start working on them,
Mhm.
and all of that. And it's the same thing with, you know, I think I don't know which one or D2 versus the various ones, but I don't know if there's 1 or 2 that are on Steam or whatever. But again, it's just these are websites. So like you just have a website, all the same. You're not in a different land than already existed. You need to be able to go to a real application that is separate from relying the web and the centralized servers of the web, because you just introduced the same dependency and the same censorship points that already existed.
Mhm.
Um,
So I was just
yeah.
gonna say, do you see like a big resistance point for like people who don't want to download something, or like I know you said you're
Yeah, that's
working
why
on
that's why I
the
use the web version, right? I'm not
yeah.
saying that it's the same. So like, and because this is a nuanced point, Scott. So I appreciate so I want to try to make it clear. Like it's the protocol level that's the check on quality. Like Google is way less likely to sort of abuse its audience with Gmail than Facebook is with Facebook. Because if Gmail starts squeezing and starts being a jerk, people will switch. You can get out. And it's not that bad to get out, because at the end, Gmail sits on top of email and email protocol. I can suck all my emails out of the Gmail server. I can run it on my own machine. I can move to Proton Mail. I can move to whatever I want to. And that I don't need permission from Google to get out, and I can still communicate with people inside Google when I'm outside. Okay. In Facebook land, none of that is true. If you build and not only is it not true, it's not possible. If I built a third-party Facebook client, I would get sued. Facebook, and this is a little bit of a legal gray area, but companies have no problems bringing suits. You can look at how, for example, Craigslist shut down third-party apartment mapping services like PadMapper back in the day, right? And you'd see the same thing happen if people tried to build third-party Facebooks. So, like, you need to have, if you want to have this check, you need to have a protocol layer, and you need to have open source ways of interacting with it, so that no one can ever be tied or trapped or that kind of thing. Our company is going to be focusing very hard on building first in class, really great applications, and we hope that people will continue to use ours, and we might monetize ours in ways that traditional companies do, right? I'm not against advertising. I'm not opposed to trying to make money off of people using the website that we make, right? I'm not anti those things, but in terms of providing the product staying quality, if we ever start to be jerks, we don't have you trapped the way Facebook does. Never going to happen. Not possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the perspective that it's disingenuous to have like ads and advertising is kind of silly, since obviously companies need to support and continue to scale and grow. So, obviously they need some sort of monetization, and people who think that having any kind of like advertising is, like following suit of Facebook or YouTube is a ridiculous notion for sure.
Yeah. Or even maybe more controversial ones. Like, look, if you use LBRY.tv, we're going to track you. We're going to track a ton of what you do, so we can analyze it and make stuff better and understand what to show you and all kinds of things. But and the truth is, 98% of people are okay with that. The 2% of people who care, though, can use a different version and don't have to get tracked, and and can have that experience. So there's sort of
absolutely. Yeah. So where do you see LBRY going in the next year, and then in the next like 5 years? So like a somewhat short term and then a longer term, vision of the project.
Yeah. So I'll work backwards, because in some ways the end game is clearer than the midterm game. And in fact, even as a business strategy perspective, I actually I practice this and I advise it of like think about the long-term big picture, and then think about sort of what are the immediate steps that refine the path you have to go along to get there, because that will change. You might update things, you might change what you're doing, and that'll happen from the near term. The picture but this of what you want to be doing, where you really want to be, you should think about that, right? But thinking about so I have I think that this is my step 10, and I think that step 1 and step 2 are the things that will move me the most towards that, with some exceptions, like I'm not going to get trapped in some path that's a dead end or whatever. Thinking about step 4 or step 5 is actually the worst thing to be thinking about, because you might get down step 1 and step 2 and then realize step 5 was an awful idea anyway. So in the long term, I think LBRY has the potential to distribute 50 to 60% of the world's internet traffic and climbing. So that traffic is categorized by what I call, not just me, static data that's the same for two different people. So LBRY is really good at serving videos and images and video games and all this stuff. We think it has the potential to be the marketplace for practically all of these things. We're trying to build a protocol that is as secure, efficient, transparent at distributing bits, marketing them, selling them, all of those things. So it's an absolutely massive potential. In the near term, our focus is going to be getting the web product out, continuing to refine the products, continuing to tune our engagement numbers. Again, I have a SaaS background. Our engagement numbers are at like a C minus. When they're at the B plus, A stage, you start pouring more money into acquisition and bringing users in. So, but we're tuning it upwards. You can actually watch the curve bend as we continue to refine the product. We'll be continuing to do that. LBRY.TV will be a big one. We will move on to iOS. We're going to be launching various creator partnerships and creator initiatives. I want to blow right past 10 million pieces of content. We're about to cross 2 million, but at the rate that it's growing, it's just been shooting up. And so 2 years from now, yeah, I don't know. I ask me 2 or 3 years from now. Ask me in 6 months or a year. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Fair enough, eh? So what is the current user base size? Like you said, you're just around 2 million like posts, but what does the user base look like right now?
So I will say again, we don't have perfect information on this because people do opt out of tracking, and guess what? Once you opt
Mm,
out of tracking, we don't really know, and that is part of the limitations. In fact, even in terms of satisfying creators, that we're working on, creators would like perfect metrics, and for paid content, we can get very good metrics. For content that's free, it can, if once someone opts out of tracking, it actually can be tough to get perfect information. It's for sure tens of thousands of people accessing content every single week, and tens of thousands of new items being published every week as well. But that side has been growing pretty healthily, and that's before really launching LBRY.TV. And so with the ability to have a much lower friction and way of using it, I think those numbers will only continue to climb.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that's one of like the major like resistant points or one of the big things that's going to help it become more mainstream. I
Yeah.
also really like that you guys have like a Twitter tip bot. Most projects don't have like a lot of integration with other socials, so I think that's really interesting. Do you want to speak to that a little?
Yeah, sure. And I think that's a great example of how the community can be so powerful because, a lot of the core development does happen from official company members. We do have some community contributors, but a lot of these like little and they're not little because but well, in terms of code base, they're not as large, right? But in terms of impact, they're very substantial. Whether it's Twitter tip bot, we have a Reddit tip bot, we have various chat tip bots. Our Block Explorer was originally built by a community member. Community members in the past stepped up and helped us sync. There's this story you can find about us rescuing 20,000 UC College Berkeley lectures that were going to get deleted from the internet. That was a community initiative. All kinds of just various little scripts and tools and setup scripts and Docker, and I don't even know. I'm going to be honest. A lot of them I haven't even ran, but other people run them, and it seems very valuable. So it's really cool. There's a good group of very knowledgeable people. If you're like a hacker type person and you're listening to this, come and hang out with us because we like people like that. And we like people that aren't that way too. I don't want to say everyone's welcome, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like to have so much development is clearly an indicator that you're reaching that point of like hitting the mainstream, and a lot more people are probably going to come pouring in. And like you said, you guys want to smash past 10 million, and I'm sure that'll probably happen sooner than later for sure. Are you guys planning to attend any events coming up soon? Like what does the next year look like for any events that you might be showing up at?
I have no fixed plans to attend any events in the near future. We will be doing more marketing and advertising. I've got, in my view, from attempting, and it's tough to measure, but I'm not convinced that like our app. It's these industry events. It's like, are these real people? Like the industry people are almost worse in some sense because they all know how to do this shit, and I want normal people to come around and use LBRY. Like a lot of people, I want LBRY to be for a lot of people. LBRY might be their first blockchain experience, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin is, as much as I love it. There's not, and you might disagree with this and feel free. I don't feel that there are like really strong reasons that the average person should be like really getting involved with Bitcoin. I'm not convinced that it solves problems for them in their day-to-day life. I think it solves problems for some people, and I think that those problems are very valuable. I'm not saying that like Bitcoin is like overvalued or anything like that. I just don't. It's tough for me to really make the case to my mom that like, yeah, mom, you should be buying Bitcoin on a regular basis. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, so
No, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Like
yeah.
it's not doesn't have a huge value proposition for the average person who might not be more involved in the space and keen on some of the specific things that might stand out to them
Yeah.
or even aware of those
So
things. Yeah.
so our our focus is really very much on everyone. Almost everyone who uses YouTube is impacted by some of the things that they're doing. And so come on to LBRY for that reason. It's great if the crypto people want to fall in love with us, but if they don't, we're going straight to the normal person. So I'm not opposed to going to conferences. If I get invited to speak, then I will typically say yes, but I have not lined up right now.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, you'll probably be shaking the boat a little bit since a lot of the projects aren't, fully utilizing the blockchain the way that you guys are. So, there might be a little bit of, like a little bit of friction there. Um, so where can everyone go to learn more about LBRY and how they can get set up and, like syncing their YouTube and everything?
Great question, Scott. Yeah, it's so LBRY.com is the best place to start. If you want to just download the app and run it and earn some rewards and see what the heck we've been talking about, just go there, just download it. If you're a YouTuber and you create content and you want an easy, painless way to have everything be published to LBRY, go to LBRY.com/YouTube. That is partially how I got connected to Scott.
Yep.
If you're the developer type who wants to really learn how it all works, go to LBRY.tech. If you want to come and chat with us on a regular basis, chat.libry.com, also linked from the landing page of the website. I'm in there. You can talk to me. You can at me. Come at me, bro. I don't know. Twitter. You can find us. We're on Twitter. If that's not sufficient to find us, we're not doing our job. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. I think I covered it. LBRY.com. Download it. Check it out. It's a real blockchain app. It's real. It's no white paper. It's not a website. You download it. You watch stuff from someone else's computer. Actually, a lot of different people's computers, and it's all. There's a blockchain that's the register. It's crazy land, but it's awesome. And yeah, that's it.
That's
We're
awesome.
good.
And is there anything else you'd like to share or touch on for LBRY or
No, this was great. Thanks for having me on, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm sure a lot of people could really benefit from getting on here and syncing their YouTube or even just being just browsing and checking things out. And yeah, everyone definitely go and check out LBRY.